This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Bruschi.
This is a deal with the devil story, and you're kind of left going, well, if you're the family, what do you do? It doesn't equate to justice, but it equates to doing what's in the best interest of your deceased loved one and their dignity, really. An Arizona man, Daniel Paduchowski, 58, set to spend the next 16 years in prison after pleading guilty to the murder of his wife, Kelly Paduchowski, who was 45, whom he had initially reported missing. The case, which concluded within a week, saw Paduchowski admitting to second-degree murder and other related charges and revealing the location of his wife's body to authorities. So they didn't know where it was as this trial got going. Paduchowski entered his plea on Friday, acknowledging charges of second-degree murder, tampering with physical evidence, concealment of a dead body, and possession of dangerous drugs. As part of his plea deal, he disclosed to Flagstaff Police Department where he had hidden Kelly's body. Following this information, officers recovered her body on Friday morning from an undisclosed location, as reported by Flagstaff Police Deputy Chief Collin Seay. The investigation began on June 30th when Daniel Paduchowski reported his wife missing, claiming she had gone for a run and a swim in the Lake Mary area. However, Seay indicated there was a ploy to misdirect police resources. Cell phone data revealed Kelly's phone was actually in the Schultz Creek Trail area around 10 a.m. on June 30th. On the opposite side of Flagstaff, Daniel Paduchowski was seen in the same area around 11:30 a.m., and her phone returned to their home in the Coconino Estates neighborhood shortly after noon. Surveillance photos captured Paduchowski and his wife's vehicle near the Campbell Mesa trailhead around 1:30 p.m. on June 30th. He reported her missing shortly after 7:30 p.m. Court documents stated neighbors heard a scream and saw Kelly Paduchowski lying face down in the yard with her husband on top of her. He then sprayed the area with a hose. Nothing suspicious here. Look away, neighbors. Police found evidence during the search of the home on July 1st suggesting Kelly was either seriously hurt or killed. Paduchowski was arrested on aggravated assault charges as the search for his wife continued. The extensive search involved multiple law enforcement agencies, drones, helicopters, and numerous volunteers. Prosecutors represented by Michael Tunick from the Coconino County Attorney's Office agreed to the plea deal provided by Paduchowski, revealed the location of his wife's body, her phone, her car keys, and the murder weapon, and answered all questions truthfully during an interview conducted on Friday. Sentencing will occur at a later date, with a 16-year prison term being the maximum sentence for second-degree murder under Arizona law, because it's Arizona. There's obviously been a monumental tragedy for Kelly and her loved ones, Tunick said, noting that the prosecutor and Kelly's family were in constant communication throughout the process. Flagstaff Police Chief Sean Connolly praised the victim's family for their resilience during the tragic time. Since the moment I sat in the living room with Kelly's family, I cannot tell you how impressed I've been with their strength and the resolve in handling this incredibly tragic situation, he said. Police have not released the cause of her death or the motive behind the murder. I'm curious as to why it's second-degree murder. Love to know more of those details.
Well, and that's the tough part, because that's the deal with the devil part, because he wasn't going to give up that information. And I think they ended up kind of negotiating back and forth and getting it down to this, to where he agreed. And I think that's the only way they were ever going to find where she was. And he had that leverage. He knew where she was. So he ended up negotiating a really sweet deal for himself, because 16 years is the maximum he gets for killing his wife. So, and the other charges, the drugs and and not to mention what he did with the police department and how much it cost them with helicopters and drones and trying to find this poor woman. How many hours was spent there?
So the lesson learned here for aspiring murderers would be hide the body, don't tell anyone, and use that to your advantage to get a lesser sentence.
Yeah, basically. And then to me, so I really thought about this. I don't know what I would do if I was in that situation, because the idea of my loved one being out there somewhere and I can't get closure because we don't have her back. We can't have a proper service for her. And then just the idea of, is she in the elements? You know what? Because your brain would never stop.
Yeah.
about where she would be. And maybe she's alive. And if we just found her, or, I don't know, you tell yourself all kinds of things. But then if you do this plea deal, he gives up the information. Like, what do you do? That is an impossible situation to be in. But because they did it, they're able to bring her home and have some closure and properly, say goodbye and have a service and all the things you do to move on. How could you move on when you don't know where she is?
This is one of those where I want to start the business of, write an inmate. And then everybody can write into everyone else in the prison system and share with the inmates what this person did. And just say, hey, if you'd like some money for your canteen, you're never getting out for the rest of your life. Just saying.
Here you go.
Here you go. I'm going to give you the money for the canteen, not because of any actions that you do, but it may come after you get in a little bit of trouble for doing something you shouldn't be doing. But it's not for that. It's just because you're a nice guy. It's nothing clearly to do with harming another individual who clearly should be taken off the face of this planet. Nothing to do with that. But hey, canteenforkills.com.
If their family members were caught doing something like that, then they're going to get more of a jail sentence, a prison sentence than he got.
Yeah, exactly. That's how fucked up that is.
The whole system is so fucked up. And he knew, he did it. And rather just be a good person and say, you know what, I did it. He's so evil. He's like, I'll get myself the best deal I can get and I can get out of here in 16 years. And I would be at every parole hearing. They have to give him 16. Since that's a maximum, but they have to do that.
You would hope so.
I can't. Oh my God. I'd be at every parole hearing and trying to keep him in there for every single day of that.
And it sounds like these decisions were rather rushed as well. I mean, you're looking at the timeline here. This shit all happened within the last 30 days. Mm-hmm. And they have a plea deal already worked out? Holy shit.
And he gave up the location. So they definitely got the right guy. They knew they had the guy, but he wasn't going to give it up, I guess. That was so sad. And I don't know what I would do. I don't know. That's a tough situation because I wouldn't want him. I would want him behind bars every day for the rest of his life.
I wonder if there's any other way around something like this. And it probably depends on the jurisdiction or something where, okay, here's the charges against you right now. And guess what? For this, if you make this deal, you get 16 years max. And then the next week. And by the way, here's 5 other charges against you, which you didn't make a deal with. And those come with a much stiffer penalty. Oh, and there's no plea deal with any of this shit.
I wonder if you can do that.
Kind of
you just don't present all the charges at the same time.
Exactly. You kind of bait and switch it. And the thing is, this happens all the time. People are brought up in charges. And then more charges are brought later on relating to the crime.
Because it seems like he could be charged with a crime just... What do they call it? Misallocating police resources or something.
Yeah.
Because he knew there was no crime.
Yeah.
Or no missing woman. And they're searching for a missing woman. So he's got them on this wild goose chase. He knows exactly where she is. So that seems like there's a charge there.
It's you think you're smart? Guess what? Surprise. I don't know.
I really like that idea.
I wonder if that could be, I don't know. There's, I don't know. Yeah. Nuts.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime.
Until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now. Or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.